my shoes and out the door. 5, I'm alive. 6, 7, 8, feeling great. 9, gonna shine, life is good. I'm doing fine. 10, gonna do it right and do it again, yeah. I look into the sky with all its beautiful color, but there's more than just for me, so gonna share it with another. I got to show, to give, let out. I want to sing and shout. Take a look and see a beautiful morning.
Been in here and people are roaring with laughter, so.
It's a dirty show, though.
Well, it's clean dirt.
You have here the best of the best.
Yes.
So we have many celebrities here. The Harley Madison come over here, and the Usher come over here many often, and the Paris Hilton come here.
Boy, I'm dating myself, but it's okay. Nobody else will. Oh.
That's so Vegas.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all, not one bill. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
The treatment doesn't get any better than what you receive at St. Jude. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Welcome to That's So Vegas TV. I'm your host, Christina Keller, here in the Las Vegas Arts District, downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. Yay! As you can see, I'm a little bit ready for this month. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
I'm feeling witchy and kind of 70s, and it all is working together. And
I think so.
You look marvelous. I
Thank
have
you.
here with me Mystic Mona. I'm so happy you could be here
Thank
today.
you. Thank you.
It's the beginning of a special month, which is October.
Absolutely.
Is that your favorite time of the year?
Well, I'm busiest during this time of year because a couple of things. Halloween, obviously, and I'm already booked at one of the big casinos for their Halloween event. And sadly, I ended up with some great offers for other parties that exact night. But when I give my word to whoever calls me first, I basically do that. But because I could have done one of the penthouse suites at one of the luxury hotels for a wedding.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, man, that's okay. It's okay. It wasn't meant to be, right?
Yeah.
So, but Halloween, and it's the beginning of convention season, and then there's several charity events that I do in October. So, yeah, October's always busy for me.
Right. I think people probably hire you going, oh, that'll be kind of kicky and cool, but you really are psychic. I mean, this isn't just a little sideshow type thing that you do. You're very well known in town. I've known you for years.
Thank you. Well, here's the thing: is that I knew when I was about 15 that I had something going. And I wasn't really sure what it was, and I thought kind of everybody did that. So I had a girlfriend take me to her mom's house, and we were just having an afternoon, and I met her mother, and her mother was this lovely Catholic lady, and she knew how to read tea leaves. So she taught me how to read tea leaves, and I was absolutely fascinated by it. And then I switched over and started reading tarot. So I started reading tarot when I was about 15, 16 years old. And then when I was around 19, I did a reading for someone that was so dark and so scary that I had to put him down. I mean, it frightened me to my core how bad that reading was. And so I had to put the cards down because I was maybe 19 or 20 years old. I didn't have the bearing or even the vocabulary to go through that reading. I said, there's just something really bad that's happened here. I said, I'm getting this vision of someone with a hole in their head. And he said, well, someone was shot outside my apartment building in the head.
Oh.
And I said, you need to move.
Oh.
And so right after that happened, I went, okay, that just scared the crap out of me. So I put down the cards, and I didn't for probably 10 years. And then I picked him up again in my late 20s or early 30s. And I think people go through a transition when they're about 27 or 28 years old. And it's a little off the subject, but I think that you get to the point when you're 27 or 28 where you realize that your life really is up to you.
Yes.
You can't be angry at the world anymore. You got to get the chip off your shoulder. You can't feel entitled. You got to move out of your parents' basement. I mean, I wasn't living there at the time,
No,
but
I
I'm just saying.
understand.
But it's like you get to the point where you realize that if I'm going to have the life I want to live, it's up to me. Now, granted, I can do the best I can, and there are going to be wonderful people that help me along the way, which actually has happened. But it is up to me. So because I don't advertise that I'm a medium, I don't advertise I'm a fortune teller. And they go, well, then what do you do? Well, Thank you for asking. I can look at what's going on with you and tell you what's likely to happen moving forward if you stay in the same energy. But your life, your path is up to you. If I see some, red flags there in your path, I'm going to tell you I see the red flags.
And people could choose to ignore that.
Exactly. I could see some opportunities in your path, but you could learn to ignore that too. Like there was a woman she's just desperate to have a boyfriend. Just desperate to have a boyfriend. And she says, why can't I find a nice man? And I said, because you're not putting yourself in the path of that nice man.
Is she on dating sites, I wonder? Or
Well,
that could be discouraging.
Now, I actually discourage people from doing dating sites because there's so much on the internet right now, and because I've had people call me after they've been scammed by gentlemen that they have met on the internet, that I'm very reluctant to suggest that. I instead say, join a political party, join a walking running group, learn something at a class that usually has more men than women. Take up something where
church,
social. Church,
right.
exactly. That bowling league. Learn how to play bridge, even though bridge used to be 95% women and 5% men. Well, now it's more 30% men, 70% women. But the thing is you never know who somebody knows.
Right.
Like I set up a great couple because I had joined Toastmasters. And there was this guy that I just thought was hysterical and smart and funny. And I actually hooked him up with a friend of mine. They would have never met had it not been for me. But they were both incredibly intelligent. They got together and they've been together almost 20 years now.
That is amazing. Now that wasn't a psychic ability, would you call it? Or
It was I think these two might have something.
Intuitive.
And as it turned out,
right.
That's exactly what happened.
I think that's sage advice, though, to get out there, socialize, and probably stick. I don't know what the internet's like that much now as far as I've done the dating thing off and on, but it just, it scares me and it depresses me because there are really some strange people out there.
And the funny thing is that a lot of people are not real on the internet.
Yeah.
They have a picture of them from 20 years ago.
Oh, that too, yes.
They have, and there were commercials on TV about that were funny, but you're not getting the real person. So some of and I have to tell you, some of the best ways to meet people is by volunteering.
Oh, that's a good idea. In today's
of course,
atmosphere of volunteering comes in.
But for example, you're going to meet animal lovers by going to a spay-neuter clinic once a month at a vet.
Right. Love it.
Okay, so you already love animals.
Right.
So we got that in common.
Would you be the person to go to, say that a woman did meet a guy like that and then she came to you? Would you be able to intuit that somehow through the reading? Would that show up in the tarot cards?
Well, usually opportunities will come up in the tarot.
Okay.
Now, here's the other thing too, is that I have probably 2 bad reviews on the internet about me.
Oh.
Okay. One is a gal I never did a reading for.
Oh, okay.
Just
go figure.
For whatever reason.
That's so Vegas.
And actually, there are a couple of reviews like that, but I'm specifically going with Yelp and Google. So the one is on Yelp, and I basically put, never done a reading for this person, and wow, how mean-spirited.
Right.
That's how I responded.
Right.
The second bad review that I have is from someone that came to me for medium work. And I spent about 15 minutes with him, and I said, I don't think that I'm helping you. And he goes, well, you haven't mentioned that my mother died. And I said, well, there's a sorrow card here, but I don't usually like to hit people with their bad news first.
Ah.
I kind of do the Oreo method. Tell them something pretty cool.
Right.
Sandwich in what they need to work on and end with something pretty cool. Right? I mean, it's kind of how I do it. Because my style of reading is very... it's hopeful. It's
Exactly.
forward-looking. It is from this point forward, because you only have from this point forward. You can't change the past.
No.
That's depression. You can't worry about the future. That's anxiety. You only got right now. So my tagline is awareness is everything.
Yes.
So if you're aware in the moment, everything shifts for you,
That's so
right?
true, Mona. I've got to give a shout out real quick to my sponsor.
Absolutely.
That segment, this has been fascinating. I love your Oreo theory. I want to talk a bit about that when we come back, and I also want to talk about, we both have lived in Oregon, so there's a connection there that we have to talk about. Quick shout out to the Red Roof Inn. They're on Paradise across from the Hard Rock. They are pet friendly, which we like.
Yay.
Close to the airport and the Strip. Free Wi-Fi, continental breakfast for guests. And again, they sponsor my show, so we love them.
Yeah, we love them.
We'll be back in just a moment with Mona, Mystic Mona, And do you want to say your last name too?
Well, Mona Van Joseph,
Is
aka
the-
Mystic Mona.
Mona.
Yeah.
But we're going to call you Mystic Mona.
That's
from now on.
fine.
Okay,
That's
we'll
fine.
be right back. Well, hey there. Welcome to That's So Vegas. This is our new studio in the famous Las Vegas Arts District, downtown Las Vegas. We're here to rock your world. And I was going to ask you how it felt to be breaking good here at the Bellagio for the National
I saw
Center.
what you did.
Your last CD was My Secret Life. I wanted to ask you what your secrets were. Tune in and turn on with us in downtown Las Vegas. This is where the action is, and that's So Vegas. Welcome back to That's So Vegas. I'm your host, Christine McKellar. I'm having a delightful time with Mystic Mona. We know each other for years.
Oh my God.
I know.
I'm so lucky.
I'm lucky too. We both had lived for a bit in Oregon. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but I was so intrigued by your Oreo cookie theory, where you had the guy or the person who said, oh, you didn't tell me the bad news, and you were, like you said, you want to start with positive,
Right.
throw that in.
Right.
So you have a whole theory about the past.
Right. Well, here's the thing is that so let's say, you know, I'll start out with, well, there was this one great love in your life, and you know you need to let that go. And they'll go, yeah, I know. And so, and you realize that until you let it go, you're going to keep attracting that kind of person. And they'll go, well, yeah, I think I know that. And then I'll
Okay.
go, but here's the person that's supposed to be coming towards you. Now, here's the funny thing, is if they agree with that, they'll start being more aware. Because remember, awareness is everything. Is that I believe that what you seek out there also seeks you, right? It's not one way. It's not you chasing. It's about a mutual point coming together, right?
Right.
When you're ready for the right relationship, it will come to you,
Right.
right? But what happens is that people will get afraid. So they want a different future, but that means that they have to change what's going on now to have the different future. So then fear steps in. So they will make things not happen because they're afraid of change. So, and it's funny, a recent event happened with me where I suddenly found myself not involved with an organization that I thought I was going to be involved with for my whole career. And I looked at it like, well, okay. I'm being guided to not be a part of that because that's holding me back in some way.
Right.
So after the initial emotional zing of it, I went, okay, I'm good.
Interesting. There's a kind of psychology here.
Right.
You know, maybe it's the psychology of the universe. And like you were talking, the energy flow and things like that.
Well, sure.
And I've noticed when I used to do a lot of interviews just on the phone or...
Right.
Generally, the person will tell you what their passion is. When you go back and you're transcribing that whole interview, it comes out. I mean, your headline comes to you, your subhead comes, but it comes out of that person's mouth. If you're open and intuitive to what...
And you know, we just lost Tom Petty. And Tom Petty said, one of the quotes that I retweeted that I reposted on Facebook was, find what you love to do and find a way to earn money doing it. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said.
Pretty much what he said.
Create a career of what you love to do.
Right.
And you've created this career
we're
of what
having
you love to
fun.
do.
We do
I
love it.
love to do this.
Right.
I mean, it's like, for me, when I sit down with every new reading, and I believe that the people who are meant to find me will find me. I don't really pay for advertising out there. My reviews and my presence on the internet has been organic since I've been licensed since 2002.
Right.
So what happens is that the right people will find you because they're ready for the message. And I look like your Aunt Mona. I look like your best friend from high school. I don't even look like some people's mom.
Yes.
So when you come to me, I'm not going to tap into the fear like a
Right.
lot of con artists out there, because that's where the fear comes in. That these con artists that are posing as readers will tap into the fear.
And doesn't that bring the person back? Then the person wants to come back to the same to readdress the fear.
Usually it ends up being an ongoing con. The worst one. Do we have time for me to tell you about the worst?
Please,
Okay,
I'll
the
make
worst
the
con
time.
that I ever heard of was a woman that was approached in Summerlin. She was at Tivoli Village by a reader that told her, I'm just picking up this sorrow about you. Well, if someone's sad, you can pretty much see that. Any person can see that if they're aware, right?
Right.
And so she says, yeah, she goes, I just lost my husband. And so she goes, well, you know, I'm an intuitive, and I have to tell you that's probably why I'm picking up this man around you that's suffering on the other side.
Ooh.
So by the time she called me, this person had extorted her out of close to $80,000. Because she'd call her up and she goes, oh, your husband's contacted with me again. I have to pray for him. I have to buy a special candle. It's $5,000, whatever it was. So by the time she contacted me, she'd been out about $80,000. And so I reported her, you know, I told her who to talk to in the police department. And she got this close to filing charges and then chickened out and didn't do it.
Probably she was scared to death the woman who put a hoodoo thing on her or
but
something.
see, there's no such thing as a curse.
Right.
There's no, the thing is that that's all agreeing with fear.
Exactly.
Right? When you agree with love, then you agree that the universe is guiding you. That even things that happen that are uncomfortable are divinely guided.
I believe that.
You know, so the funny thing is my husband and I lived in Oregon.
And
And
what part? Where?
Oh, we lived right outside of Portland and Tigard.
Oh, I know where
and
Tigard is.
We lived there during the Great Freeze, the Great Flood, and the Great Windstorm. And anyone from Oregon knows that was 1995. So what happened was I said to my husband, I said, I can't live here anymore. I don't like the...
Done with the wind, done with the rain.
I'm done with the clouds.
Done with it.
I'm done. And so what happened is just a few months after that, he got an offer to move here to Vegas. So we moved to Vegas.
Nice.
And so we've been here for over 20 years. And though I'm not a native, I do call myself proudly a Las Vegas local.
Yeah, I am
So-
too. I've been here since 1980, pretty much.
And of course, you know, we've just had this huge tragedy.
Yes, very, very,
And
very
I want to
shocking.
and I got to do a shout out. Do you mind if I do a shout
Please
out? Okay.
do it. I love it.
So the Orleans Casino, Boyd Gaming, has stepped up and said that anyone connected with this tragedy can get a complimentary room at the Orleans.
Yay.
I mean, yay. And there have
I
been
love
other
Boyd.
hotels stepped up, and I don't know if the Orleans and Boyd Gaming stepped up first or not, but the fact that think of them logistically. They're right off the strip. The parking is free.
Yes.
The rooms are good.
Yes.
There's stuff for the kids to do, bowling, movies. You know, there's an arcade there. So there's stuff for the
They're
whole family
homeboys,
to
because
do.
Sam Boyd, I mean, I remember when I moved here in 80, always out there for the locals. Everything they do is geared to
and
the
then, you know,
locals.
I mean, it's like, so they're going to get them a complimentary room.
I
if they're-
love it.
I
You're
just,
more than welcome for the shout out. We can put a tagline or something.
I
out
just
there.
think it's awesome.
It,
So,
it really is.
Anyway,
It was-
I just had to mention
I know
that.
we had to because I was on the strip when that started to happen. I was
Oh,
at the
God,
Flamingo,
I
though.
can't believe you
I
were
know.
there.
You know, as a local, I know the back streets, and that's how we went home. And apparently, it was just when everything was starting to go south. And I lived down by that end of the strip, so yeah, we're all in shock over that. There's been a lot of prayer, a lot of tears. I know. I kept tearing up yesterday. You know, I have friends who had children there, and I mean, it touches everybody on some level. And
It's just awful.
It is awful, and there's no way to predict something like
No.
that. So there can't be throwing it out to somebody saying, "Oh, why didn't you predict this?" or something like you said. And gosh, the time's flying. But I want to talk to you. I want to mention again when we come back that you are licensed. A lot of
Oh,
people
yeah.
don't realize you
Yeah.
can license. Or
You're supposed to be,
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. I love it. Another shout out to the Red Roof Inn on Paradise, close to the Strip and Airport. Don't go away. I'm coming right back with Mystic Mona. I want to hear some more about what's coming up in your life.
Yay.
I'm going to predict some stuff.
Oh, I can't wait.
See you in just a minute.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. If you think about that, I mean, go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. And there's one thing we're focused on here at St. Jude, and that's beating this thing.
Welcome back to That's So Vegas. I'm Christina Keller. I'm here with Mystic Mona, and we threw a nice one out there for people who weren't aware, probably, that you actually have to have a license to practice.
Yes, you do. It's called the Psychic Arts License. It
Love
involves
it.
a criminal background investigation. It's not a test of psychic ability. It's specifically a criminal background investigation. And then once you have the license, You just renew it every year. But there are probably 50 readers in Vegas that are licensed, and that's great. You can look on any of the government entities and search it.
So check, people.
But there's probably hundreds that are not.
Exactly. So please check that when you go to see your psychic that she
and it's
or
called
he has
Psychic Arts License. Palmist readers, they all have to have it.
Okay, I love that. That's great, and that's something I think we all need to know. Real quickly, because I know you've got some exciting events coming up, and I want to hear about. I mean, there's so much going on in October here in Las Vegas, but why are there not very many men's psychics? That thought just popped
Actually,
in my brain.
there's a couple of very good psychics that are licensed here. One is a gentleman by the name of Leon, and the other one's a gentleman by the name of Matt.
Okay.
They're both very
And there was
nice.
Uri Geller, but I guess he wasn't a psychic.
But he's not licensed.
Right.
Yeah, he's famous, but he's not licensed.
Uri,
so
shame
there
on
you go.
you.
I'm just saying. So yeah, I have these two great events coming up for Help of Southern Nevada.
Tell us.
So I usually do 3 or 4 events with Help every year. We did Tiaras and Tequila in May.
Oh.
You showed up wearing a tiara, you got your first margarita free. It was awesome, big raffle, fun, everything. Then they're doing their high tea at the Mandarin Oriental on October 11th. So that'll be in the afternoon. So it's www.helpsonv.org. So helpsonv.org. The event that I'm creating, because I've always wanted to do a Halloween event, is I'm doing Night of the Witches. It's not Night of the B Word. It's Night of the Witches.
Okay.
And it's going to be at the Grape Street Cafe downtown Summerlin.
Fun.
We have 350 people already interested in coming. We have about 50 committed. I'm hoping that at least 100 people show up.
And what's the...
And you have to dress up like a witch.
Oh.
And you dress up like a witch, you get your first witch's brew for free.
Nice.
And then there's raffle prizes, and they all benefit Help of Southern Nevada.
Okay.
And where I got the idea is I was doing an event in Reno, and I was sitting at a really lovely restaurant in the bar, and we were waiting for our table, and this woman showed up dressed like a witch. Then another woman showed up dressed like a witch. Before you knew it, there were 20 women that
Witches.
had taken over the bar at happy hour, dressed up like witches. And I went up, I go, are you guys going to a party? She goes, no, this is the party. We just choose a place every year on this date, and we dress up like a witch, and we just take over the bar.
Lovely.
She goes, we usually have close to 40 people, but only 20 were able to do it this time. But they're taking advantage of the happy hour prices, and they did. And I thought, we should do something like that for Vegas, but let's make the first drink free.
Yes.
Right?
Bingo, love it.
So the folks at Grape Street Cafe have really stepped up, which is just awesome. So they're sponsoring the first drink. I'm collecting raffle prizes. So if people want to donate a raffle prize, it all benefits Help of Southern Nevada.
Okay.
Just contact me through my website, www.mona.vegas. So
Lovely. I
Yeah.
love it, and you're so enthused about it. I did a witch thing on Facebook myself last year. Got all dressed up at home. I do everything for the kids. I mean, I have the smoke machine, the boom boom. I didn't have a kid show up. So there I am in my witch's costume, so I did a
we get
video.
about 200 trick-or-treaters at our
my.
house. So, but I couldn't do it on Halloween because parents would be home with it. And this is. I mean, men can show up for this. Dress up like a witch, warlock, right?
Right.
But we're going to have a costume contest. So
And
there's
what day is that again?
October 30th.
Oh, my,
5
right.
p.m. to 8 p.m.
Right.
So it's the night before Halloween.
Interesting.
All Hallows Eve, I guess.
Yes, it would be.
But we're going to have a costume contest for 3 categories. Classic witch.
Okay.
So this is a famous witch that you've seen on TV, whatever that is, or movie. All
Okay.
right. Classic witch. Most creative witch. And most scary witch. And masks don't count. If you're wearing a mask, you're disqualified.
Right, because then that
It's
doesn't
cheating.
be in your witchy self.
Yeah, you're cheating.
This is to bring out the witch in all of us, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I love. I'm going to check my calendar. Hopefully, I'll
hope
be
you
able to
can
make
go.
it. I have friends who are doing the Dia del Muerte parties this year, and some of them might coincide. Day of the Dead. That's big
usually
this
the
year.
first. Isn't that November 1st?
Something, but my son's sweetheart they're doing something really big. I don't know what. I'll have to check the date.
I would love to have
Isn't
you
that
there.
interesting? Day of the Dead. I mean, that
Yeah,
too.
well, because that's November 1st usually.
right.
But yeah, the Day of the Dead stuff's big.
Yeah. I'll show you a video of my witch costume last year because I think if I showed up looking like that girlfriend, I would win the contest.
Okay, you have no idea how many women have said that to me. I'm going to win. I'm
there
going to
you
win.
go. Oh, it's going to be something.
It's so funny how women get competitive. And when you have one specific category, it's actually easier. Like
Right.
there was 5 guys that dressed up as 5 different Johnny Depp characters, and they
Oh.
won the costume contest, I think, at the Ghost Bar at the Palms.
Oh, really?
But
I love Johnny Depp.
but they showed up as all 5 different characters. There was an Edward Scissorhands. There was a Jack Sparrow. There was
Right.
what was the one from
The writer.
Alice in Wonderland?
Right.
You know, so
Oh, yeah.
all these 5 different characters.
Uh-huh.
So, and they won, and what a great idea.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, you'd have to have 5 guys that have a certain build. Because, you know, he's
but a witch could be anything.
Absolutely.
Good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. And we just ran out of time.
Oh.
It was like having a spell cast on us throughout this whole half hour. This
fun.
was so much fun.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, and for turning us on to so many fun things. I'm definitely going to look into the witch thing.
Yes.
I think that's awesome. And
I'd
also,
love it for
you've
you to be
got,
there.
you know, all that you do so much in just light of what you do and your talent and your intuitive,
Thank you.
everything. You do so much for other people that we
Thank
just
you.
love you. Until next week, I'm Christina Keller, and this is Mona, and we're wishing you all a very happy and safe Halloween. I'm Christina Keller with this week's Vegas Entertainment Updates. Celebrating 34 years, Legends in Concert, Las Vegas' longest-running show, has an ever-changing lineup at the Flamingo Hotel. Through November 19th, the celebrity mix highlights Cher, Frank Sinatra, Elvis Presley, and Michael Jackson. The Halloween spirit is represented with Damian Brantley's version of Michael Jackson's Thriller. The newest Bellagio Conservatory and Gardens display, running through November 25th, features enchanting landscapes teeming with mystical creatures and 2 exotic flower-encrusted 19-foot peacocks. The South Garden features a 28-foot enchanted talking tree and 3 scarecrows. The conservatory is free to the public and open 24 hours a day. The Home Improvement and Landscape Expo, featuring appearances from Bristol and Aubrey Morundi of HTV's Flip or Flop Vegas, will take place at the Orleans Arena October 6th through 8th, starting at 10 a.m. each morning. The 3-day expo offers the latest product and services for home remodeling and decorating. Admission for adults is $5. Seniors and military members are free on Friday. The 25th annual Pahrump Valley Winery Grape Stomp will be held Saturday through Sunday, October 7th through 8th, from 11 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., featuring vendors, food, live music, wine tasting, and grape stomping. Admission is only $10. Chateau Nightclub and Rooftop at Paris will host a throwback Halloween bash 80s-themed party starting at 9 p.m. on Friday, October 13th. Guests are encouraged to dress in 80s attire. For the latest dining tips, holiday events and festivals, music, and more, visit VegasOnlyEntertainment.com. Be sure to tune in again next week. I'm Christina Keller, and that's So Vegas.
1, 2, 3, 4, get my shoes and out the door. 5, I'm alive. 6, 7, 8, feeling great. 9, gonna shine, life is good. I'm doing 5, 10, gonna do it right and do it again.